Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday. Yay! Start of another week. I hope you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. Good morning to everybody who's joining. How are you? I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, that you did something very exciting. Hey, Indra, nice to have you join us. Welcome. So, how was the weekend? What did you get up to? I hope you did something exciting. I told you guys last week that I live with a sports fan, and so for the next, I don't know how long, it is sports on television. That's pretty much what we're watching. Watched the French Open finals, and then I want to start with a complaint. Hey, how are you, Chris? Great to have you join. I owe you a response. I know. I will get that to you today. I wanted to complain. You know what? It is the Women's World Cup soccer happening right now, but you would hardly know that from the coverage. Like, no one's covering it, hardly any. You have to, where I live, you actually have to go looking for the channel as opposed to it being wall to wall everywhere. And unfortunately for me, all the teams that I'm rooting for are not doing well. All my African teams are not doing well. South Africa lost, Nigeria lost. I've got my fingers crossed today for Cameroon, who's playing Canada later on today, so fingers crossed for them. And the other thing too that happened over the weekend, if you're a basketball fan, is you know that it's the basketball finals, and the Toronto Raptors won another game. So tonight is game 5, and so they could potentially win tonight, potentially. So fingers crossed for them. But I hope you had a great weekend. What did I do this weekend? Well, I actually had the pleasure of attending my niece's graduation. And it's actually what I wanted to talk about today. Well, not my niece's graduation specifically, although I am incredibly proud of her because I know she worked so hard to get her degree. But I wanted to talk about what I observed at the graduation. And that really was the excitement. All the graduates were just so excited, and so much, possibility, and so much. They're so excited to start their lives. And maybe I'm just being cynical, but I thought to myself, wow, I'd love to see these grads 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and see whether in life they're still living with that same enthusiasm, that same, joie de vivre, that just, being so excited about possibility. And it made me think about how many of us go through our lives, that there's so many of us who are existing. We're not living, we're existing. That life isn't something that's fulfilling to us, that's exciting to us. We're enduring our lives. And it also reminded me of a poem actually that I had once read, and a dear friend of mine actually posted a story about it on his Facebook this weekend, where he was talking about the poem is called The Dash, and actually, if you'll indulge me in a second, I'll read you that poem. But it's really about how are you living your life. We live, so many of us, as if life will go on forever. We put off until tomorrow, living our dreams, living our hopes. We think that there's time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next year. And yet, statistically, 150,000 people who were alive yesterday are not alive today. Every day, on average, 150,000 people who yesterday were here aren't here. None of us knows how much time we have. And so, how are you living your life? Are you living it waiting for tomorrow? Or do you realize that today actually matters? Today is important. Every moment actually matters. And so this week, I want you to go through the week thinking about this poem that I'm about to read to you. It's called The Dash. And it just really gives food for thought about how we live our lives. And I'll post a link to the poem. It's by Linda Ellis, and it says, I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from beginning to end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? So just some food for thought as you go through this week is, how are you spending your life? How do you want to be remembered? What's the legacy that you're going to leave? How will the world know that you were here? I wish you all an amazing week. I wish you a productive week. I wish you a week where hopefully an African team finally wins a game. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you same time next week.